It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're reacting and having a discussion about a video from DrussNBubba titled Number 1 P100 Pig Main, Pain Res, Grim Embrace is Bad, Dead by Daylight. Now for those of you that are not aware, this is, in my opinion, probably the best pig main in the DBD community. Does not get enough credit. Anytime people talk about pig mains, I don't know why Druss is never having that interview or having the video. I swear. This has got to be, I would consider, the best pig main. But glazing aside, all right, we're going to mainly be talking about how pain res is pretty terrible on pig. And as a Ghostface main, I can even explain that it's even bad on Ghostface. And probably even furthermore bad on a lot of M1 killers as a whole. And we're going to get into that in a moment. But I'll let Druss here explain why he doesn't think that Grim and pain res are even that good on pig specifically.
I'm running these add-ons because I'm probably going to want to have more traps. I'm going to need as much shit as possible to incentivize me not hardcore going for one person. Since we're not actually running slowdown, we're running play ROM to be rewarded for a few seconds and lose anyway, so
that right there is exactly the mentality I have when talking about slowdowns in this game. And even when we hear about Grim Embrace, when we hear about Pain Res, or even Dead Man Switch and all these other things, that comes to mind immediately when people say, oh, just use Grim, oh, just use this. And it's like, we have to keep in mind what the functionality of these perks are in comparison to what the capability of the killer is. Pig as a whole is still an M1 killer, despite having some form of a dash. It is not the most consistent dash. It is extremely counterable by literally just shift W. And this is a character that is extremely reliant on your pathing, your ability to understand the head traps and the sort of removal and stuff like that. There's a lot of depth that actually goes into pig. And another aspect that comes to mind as well immediately is with pig is like the head traps activate when the gens get done anyway. So at least from my perspective, them getting done is only going to benefit you in the long run. And that is that is like a pig specific thing. When we're talking about Trapper, Ghostface, Skull Merchant, anybody like that's a low tier, you're probably not going to get a lot of value from Pain Res and Grim. It requires you to get downs very quickly, which a lot of M1s can't really do. And of course, on top of that, if you look at Grim Embrace, it is like requiring you to one hook brand new players, like brand new survivors in your match, to get 10 seconds of slowdown. 10 seconds, like, and even back then when people were complaining about Grim Embrace, I never understood it, because when I did face it, because I'd have like 400 hours in Survivor, when I did face Grim, I was like, 10 seconds is really short. Like, why are people complaining about this? But for some reason, they still complained, and I'm pretty sure it got nerfed anyway. And I just don't see what the big idea is with Grim Embrace, at least. Like, 10 seconds is really short, and it's only applicable to fast-moving characters. So I really don't understand like the idea behind that. Like, I just don't understand it. And Pain Res, like, is already pretty bad by itself. Like, I've seen plenty of matches where people are using Pain Res, 20% slams the gen, and the gens just fly anyway. So like, it did absolutely nothing. We've seen that even in the previous video that I posted, which shows Quiet Kills and Aranad working together to show that these changes that were being proposed in the PTB are absolutely terrible. It even shows there that when he used the Pain Res, it hit a gen, but there were still 2 to 3 of them 99. So like, they hit one gen, but it didn't even make a difference. They all popped. Top it off with the fact that Dead Man Switch got nerfed. So the only way that you could really argue that Pain Res could work is if you run Dead Man's, but it's still pretty much counterable, and it's only 35 seconds, which is awful. 50 seconds was fair. That made complete sense, especially for how much it cost to actually get them to get off to the gen a lot of the time. 50 seconds was equal to how fast the gens could pretty much go. But let's continue.
That's interesting. That was Whip Corrupt as well. Look at that pain res value, though. I mean, pain res can work on some killers, but, like, mostly... Scourge Hooks mostly work better on killers that have speed. Because killers like that can win without perks anyway, so... Because of how bad survivors are, and, you know, because of how fast they can cover the entire map, but, you know, so I don't know.
That's exactly the point I was making in this video. That's just exactly my point. And that's extremely accurate when it comes even to Grim Embrace, because it requires you to leave the hook, and then you have 10 seconds of blocking all gens. But then that also means that if you're a slow moving character, 10 seconds is how long it takes to even get to a gen anyway, or even to find anyone else. So you're not gonna find anyone in that amount of time, because 10 seconds up, they're already back on the gen, another one flies. Pain res is only 20%, so it'll only affect one gen. So, and then say it does have dead man's, okay, but it's 35 seconds, so that's basically nothing for how much it costs you to actually have to down them in the right position, and then hope the hook's in the right spot, and then also have to walk over there with them on your shoulder, and then hope that the gen doesn't fly before you decide to hook them. These things are way too costly for a character like Pig, like Ghostface, Skull Merchant, and stuff like that. But people still run it for some reason. And I've always been kind of against it. Like, now Ghostface is a special case in a sense, because depending if you're able to get the down, if they don't see you and you can mark them, then sometimes you can get more value on pain res than probably Trapper could. But it still doesn't make it any less terrible.
Now her trap won't get active, unlucky. And now I have to go for her because I don't know where anyone else is. Druss, go look for them. Like, bro, what? Why? Because the perk told me to? Are you a little bitch? No, I don't know what I'm meant to do now. Like, go 12 hook. Like, why? But why? Perk value. But why? Unguaranteed perk value is not a good enough reason for me to care. Like, you might as well have given me Shattered Hope. You can't make me play differently under a fucking promise. It's not like me downing the survivors separately would have changed the gen speed here.
That right there is exactly, all of that is exactly what I've been trying to say when it comes down to the slowdowns in the game. The slowdowns are simply not equal to how fast the gens can fly. And we've actually covered in a previous video showing that gens can be completed in 35 seconds with a skill check build. So how does that even come close to having to, like, freshly down somebody, right? From, like, with the pallet density, mind you, pallet density active, right? Having to get 2 health states, having to down them, and then finding the correct hook in time before a gen flies. And then it gets hit for 20%, and then another gen flies regardless. And then you're like, well, then what was the purpose of me using this? Then you have to leave them, go to a brand new person to get 2 full health states within the pallet density update, somehow be able to down them again, and then also hope that you're in the right spot to have the pain res activate. And then you'll lose another 2 gens, and then you basically use 2 stacks and it did absolutely nothing. What is the point? And of course, if you spend more time looking for a brand new survivor, you're gonna waste even more time, which Pig does not have, Ghostface does not have. These killers do not have that amount of free time. They just don't. There's no passive slowdown that's active as you do that. It's just not that's just not how it works. And as you can see here, even with pain res, dead man's, grim, all of this stuff, it did absolutely nothing from 2 gens flying. And you have no choice in the matter, right? Because you need to get your downs. So what else? So in that sense, it's like, what other option do you really have? In that sense. And of course, like Druss has stated, you're banking on the promise of perk value. You're not even actually going to guarantee that you're going to get the value in the first place. And that is one of the biggest things when even picking perks for low tiers, is that you need to have perks that you can say are going to always give you value every time, 9 times out of 10. And that is like when if you guys have ever seen my Ghostface perks tier list, you guys understand that like most of the perks I found to be the strongest are going to be stuff that does not require you to manually input anything, such as Dead Man Switch. Not Dead Man Switch, my bad. Deadlock. I don't know what they call it now because they removed Pinhead, but I have Pinhead. So to me, it's Deadlock. The Corrupt Intervention. Batteries included. Play with your food. Nemesis, like, you know, but combined, of course. Like, these perks are going to be helpful all the time. They're not going to be terrible. Like, they're not going to just require me to get 2 full health states or one markdown before 2 gens fly just so I can get 10% of something. Like, that just takes way too much effort. I even say like Eruption is kind of terrible. Like, it can be pretty good on Ghostface because of the possibility that you can say kick a few of them and then get a markdown and you can like basically slam a couple of gens at the same time. But like most of the time you may not be able to do that. So I lean towards like more passives like that. And of course it limits like how you you build your around the character, of course. But obviously that kind of comes to the territory when you are playing a low tier and you are trying to optimize your character the best that you can. You're going to end up losing a lot of that flexibility because ultimately if you understand your character, you'll understand like this perk may not work. Like for example, like I can look at Save the Best for Last on Pig and I go, okay, that makes sense. Like they don't have any expose or anything like that to make getting hits any faster. So you're going to be M1ing a lot. So Save the Best for Last to me is a no-brainer. I go, hey, you're just swinging quicker and wiping is going to be a lot nicer than say on Ghostface where like I'm not getting stacks because I'm already getting one shot down. So like I'm losing at least half of my stacks every single time because it's taking me 1 hit instead of 2, as an example. And the thing is that if you are getting stacks would save the best for last, you're not even playing Ghostface optimally at that point. Which at that point, just I would recommend a different character because you could just play Pig or something and do the same thing at that point. Like you're not even utilizing the marks in the first place. So why not just use somebody else that has stealth but also can be more effective? Like that has always been my perspective when playing a lot of these characters. And that even boils down to like even like unique characters like Chucky, where a majority of the perks don't really work that well on him either, right? Because he is a slow-moving 110 killer, but he also has a dash ability that makes him pretty lethal in most chases. So it's like you can't really use Surge because he doesn't really M1 it down, but you can't really like rely on Painters either because he's not really fast. Like you can on some occasions, but not really. Like, so he's a very unique character in a lot of ways, and if you play your character enough, you'll be able to understand that certain perks are just not going to land the same way that they are on other characters.
Considering I'd have to look for them, find them, down them, hook them, trap them. Hopefully nothing goes wrong, you know, like bro.
So that exactly is the point, and I'm glad that Druss here is giving us an example, even within the match itself, showing using the build, the gens are still flying, like, and if he were to look for somebody else, the gens would still fly. Like, he would not be able to save any more time. He would not be able to catch up at all, because if you're trying to go for a brand new like player as an M1, as a low tier, you're just simply not going to have enough time, especially due to the gen speed being as rapid as it is. This is just going to be the outcome. This is just what it's going to look like. And this is what it looks like even at this level, when you are going against like very tough opponents, or at least very efficient opponents. That's just how it's going to look. That is just simply how it's going to go. And that in itself boils down to why I say Grim, Pain Res, and even Deadman's are just terrible perks for M1s. Like, they're just not strong enough. And I would highly recommend perks that can give you more value. And it even stretches even further to other characters that are maybe in the mid to the higher tiers. You probably can use like Pain Res and Deadman's because they probably have a teleport feature. They probably have a dash. They probably have something that's going to give them a lot more mobility so that you actually can get away with leaving the hook and going to a brand new survivor who does not have hook states and having to try to get 2 health states and a brand new hook on hopefully a Pain Res, just so that you can, you know, slow the game down further. But even without that, you're still going to perform a lot better overall in comparison to the lowest tiers, by and large. That's just how it works. That's just how it goes, and it's just how math works, right? Another good example of that as well is like around the Halloween event when using the Blight Serum. Like, if anybody has seen me play Myers with the Blight Serum, you understand that, like, with the build I was using the obsession swapping, I was able to cut off a lot of distance by just using the serum. And of course, just that alone made it even stronger, because then I had the option to dash over, close a lot of distance without wasting a lot of time, and then from there was able to use the Evil Incarnate to dash around, get it down quickly, hook them again, and then from there dash again to close the gap, because I see the aura of the next survivor, and I was able to continue to essentially 12 hook, you could say, give or take, way more effectively than I would have had without the Blight Serum in that instance. That is just how it works. It's just how math works. Like, the faster you can travel somewhere means the faster you can get over there before the objective gets completed. And the proof is in the pudding, right?
Like, what if this survivor, for example, just went down under a pallet and I can't get the pain res by any means? Like, no, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, a pro, like.
That right there is also what I wanted to discuss with Druss right here, because that is extremely accurate. The second that they go down under a pallet, they're essentially invincible at that point. Because if any one of us we're going to try to pick them up, and at least with Pig, there is an option to potentially, maybe, like, use the trap to kind of pull them out of from under the pallet. But if they had the trap on, then you can't do that. However, besides Pig in that very specific instance, against a vast, like, any killer pretty much, it's impossible to be able to save. I mean, not to save, right? Because they're essentially invincible under the pallet. And in what situation are you going to really benefit from that, right? Because if the build requires you to hook people and you can't because of the existence of the pallet, you have no choice but to just leave them there. So at that point, you're not going to get your value. And then you have to start a brand new chase, hopefully, if someone's close by. Or if you see no one, you have to either take the 50-50, potentially hope that you don't get stunned and lose all your pressure. Or you have to just kind of go off somewhere else into the sunset and hope you can find someone, because you take the stun and you're losing all your pressure. You just basically went from spending all that time and energy to down somebody for that to all be reversed in a single button press. It's like, it's such a drastic, like, difference in effort, like, and it's ridiculous. But that's how it works, unfortunately. So with that being said, there's not really much you can do. And then it boils back down to, well, my perks are also not really giving me, like, really carrying any weight. Like, they're not really doing anything unless I can get the down even faster. But that is going to be the end of the video for you guys. If you want to watch the original video, it'll be linked in the description. it actually has like at least a bunch more like going on in the video that you definitely want to see. You can actually see a good pig player in action. I would say probably one of the best pig players in the community. Go ahead and check out the video. I just wanted to talk specifically about the perks. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section about pain res, dead mans, and other slowdowns, and how would you change them if you could. That being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Consider becoming a member. Get your name right off at the end of every video, and supporting the channel, and see the exclusive content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, I wanted to go ahead and take some time out to thank all my members from Patreon with Crow King 101, my YouTube members, Majora Jeff, Endire, Evil Peachy YT, Zero Mocker, Christian, Hexdev, and Crow Vader, and for my Twitch subscribers, Cake is the Road, Danica 2002, Final Girl _ Bunny, Acklefin, Chili Cinderace, Zero Mocker, Ginsburg, Johns 117 _ Lovely Ghost TTV, Jar TTV, Zazabu, and Crow Vader. Just wanted to thank you guys. And if you also want to have your name read off at the end of every video, make sure you join on one of these platforms to get one of those perks, as well as the other perks you get. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much.